a lot of good stuff. I just wanted to give each of you a chance to sort of, if there's anything you want to add about hybrid cloud in general, something that people should be thinking about as we go forward. David, what's important? What should companies be thinking about as they think about the hybrid cloud computing?
I think they should be thinking about performances, which is something that often escapes requirements, and understanding how the thing's going to perform in a private cloud instance and a public cloud instance and in between the two. Because I think a lot of people are running into walls in that right now. So they just didn't understand about bandwidth issues and latency issues, and they haven't engineered it into their final solution. And they get in trouble because sometimes you can't engineer or design your way around some performance issues out there. Second would be making sure that your hybrid cloud implementation goes along the line of a larger vision within the enterprise. So people need to understand that they're deploying not only an instance of cloud computing to solve a particular business problem, but this is something that's going to be a foundational effect in terms of how they're going to solve a lot of business problems going forward. So deal with the flexibility and the agility aspect of that, and put some time in engineering how the system not only can be implemented, but how it can be changed. So we get back into some of the old fundamental architectural requirements as we talked about 20 years ago, but we're reinstantiating them in the modern technology of cloud computing, and there's some huge opportunities there if people are able to move in the right direction and start a different level of thinking. And so they should be thinking strategically about this stuff, not tactically about this stuff, and to summarize everything I just said.
You talked about the huge opportunities. What in particular would be one of those huge opportunities?
Well, the huge opportunity would be the ability to quit standing up silo applications to solve business problems, provide the capability to change your existing systems around the needs and requirements and changing nature of the business. So cloud computing provides us, especially hybrid cloud computing, provides us the ability to expand up and allocate the resources we need to solve the problem. So let's take that to the next level, and let's make sure we're able to put forth the platform and put forth the architectural approaches so I have agility, so I have flexibility to do what I need to do. Mm-hmm. So we're not running around in fire drills that last a couple of years to drag new silo applications into the enterprise. Instead, we're thinking differently in how we stand up these solutions. And I think that's a fundamental piece that people are missing within enterprises today. They need to think differently about that in order to make cloud computing technology much more cost-effective and efficient for them. They can save millions of dollars a month in moving in this direction if they just start thinking toward agility and toward flexibility and toward the ability to build systems versus just standing up and solving a particular tactical problem.
And to your sense, if you're going to give like one or just a few pieces of advice about hybrid cloud, what do you tell people?
Oh, look, I think one thing I'd sort of like to leave everyone with, and I'll probably get reamed on Twitter for this, but there's a lot of sort of keepers of the mythos of hybrid cloud who want to do everything new and everything differently and throw out the old. And Kurt mentioned ITIL and DevOps in the same conversation, and that may get him lynched. But I think this notion that you need to stop doing IT service management, you need to stop doing ITIL, you need to have no silos in your organizational structure, regardless if you've got 100,000 people just in your IT department alone. They all have to work together. Some of this there's good patterns here, but to David's point, you've got to do things intentionally and strategically, and sometimes that means looking at what you're already doing that's already good and applying that to the new while you're adopting what's going to make you change and go forward. So I think not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, taking an intentional approach that doesn't exclude what you might already be doing well, but leverages that so that you can deliver new innovation, do things better, do things faster, do things cheaper in a more intentional way.
Kurt, your conclusion on hybrid cloud, what do you tell people when they come to you and talk about it?
Well, I think in terms of the application portfolio. So we've got a hybrid portfolio and a hybrid cloud strategy. We've got some old school applications that we want to address or work with. We have the new style component-based cloud era apps, and so we really try to get people to look at trying to find a hybrid cloud solution that meets the needs of both of those types of applications, because I think they're both going to exist together for quite a while. That we joke that the data center is like a museum of past technology choices, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not going away for most organizations. There are some, the joke in the kind of the Silicon Valley cloud camp is you know, when you've got the Zynga types talking to the Caterpillar IT manager,
Right.
you know, they're like, oh, well, your problem is you have an existing successful business you have to deal with, right? So, you know, you've got to deal with the hybrid, or you have to deal with the legacy, and that's got to be a consideration when you look at hybrid cloud.
Do you think the Caterpillar folks and the Zynga folks have ever talked in the same room together? Do you think that conversation has actually taken place in the real world?
Oh, well, so another funny story. So it was DevOps Days a few years ago. We had kind of the enterprise IT panel, and there was a guy from Caterpillar. No, the room is just this event is just off of Velocity Conference, so the room's full of all the, you know, the web app types. And he asked his first question. He asked everybody in the audience to raise your hand. You know, how many of you have $100 million IT budget? You know, not a single hand went up in the whole room. He said, we spend $100 million with multiple vendors every year.
Wow.
And there was just kind of this like stunned silence and mumbling in the back row, and then, you know, we kind of went on. So that was pretty funny.
Serious cash. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thank the three of you. Some great stuff. I will send each of you a link, and you know, we can promote it, et cetera. I thank you very much. A lot of good stuff. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.